good morning slash afternoon slash evening, depending on what time it is when you're watching this video. My name is William Turner, and this is the first of a series of videos in which I'm going to explain to you the methods that I use to digitise my own photo and video collection. And when I say my own, I mean those pictures and videos that are relevant to my family history. So the pictures of my own childhood and previously. I think the collection I've got several thousand pictures in it dating back to the 1850s, so quite a big long-ranging collection with varying quality. And over the last 8 years that I've been doing this project continuously, I've learned lots of new tips and tricks which I'd like to share with you today. Now, the first thing with any project that you'll ever do, I'm sure you agree, is to make sure you know what your aims are. Are you just looking to scan your favourite memories, your favourite pictures, a selection? Is it just the ones that you think people would like to see? Or are you looking for a definitive collection? You're looking to scan all the material in just in case you need it. The route that I've gone down on the whole is to scan everything, with the exception of when I was borrowing pictures from grandparents, for example. If they had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pictures of, say, my cousins when they were younger, which didn't feature my grandparents, there's no direct ancestors in, I would opt not to scan those. So if there was a wealth of material, I would avoid any landscape shots with no one in which weren't relevant, and I would also avoid any pictures which had more distant relatives in who were well photographed and documented elsewhere. That was slightly different with older ancestors, where perhaps a picture of a great uncle was the only one in existence, and I felt it important to preserve that image. So it really is up to you. So at the beginning you need to sort out what your aims are and what you feel this project is for you. Is it a definitive collection of everything? Is it a certain branch? Is this for certain people? Is it for an event? What are you doing this for? And that will set the parameters for how in depth you go with that. Now obviously what you'll need to start your project off is to have something to scan your pictures in. And for me, there are three sources of images. First of all, it's your ordinary printed photographs that will be the bulk of your collection. There'll also be slides, perhaps, and if you're lucky, there might be some negatives as well. Now, in this video, I'm just focusing on ordinary photographs, be it 6x4s, be it 7x9s. This is about scanning on a flatbed scanner. So, to be honest, you don't need anything special. Hopefully your own printer will have, with a photocopier, flatbed that you can use to scan on. So you've got the scanning glass right here. What I would suggest when you're using your flatbed scanner is, obviously with bigger pictures, it might be that you can only fit one picture on the glass. If you can fit multiple pictures, it will just save you time. Just make sure that they don't overlap. And then when you are remastering the pictures, which I will go on to in another video, that's when you then crop them and separate them. As a rule, after every time you put something on the flatbed, you should really get an anti-static duster and give the screen a wipe. Otherwise, and you'll see on screen now, there are pictures where if you don't give it a clean, as I learned the hard way, you will end up getting dirt on the picture. As a rule, I tend to clean every 5 scans just to speed them up a bit. But if you want to be absolutely sure that these pictures are the best they can be, then I would make sure that you are cleaning it every single time. The next thing I would advise relates to quality. So obviously there are various terms that I'll use over the coming videos, and one of them is DPI, which you may have heard of DPI, and anyone who has maybe had a 3D HD telly will know that that has more pixels in it. And DPI means, it's slightly different, but it means dots per inch. So in a picture, obviously what it's made up of is lots of tiny little dots. they make up the picture. If you zoom right in, it's lots of little pixels, and together they make up the image. The more dots you have per inch, the more of those little pixels that you have, the higher quality that image will be. When you're scanning in older pictures, you have a choice. I would go with 600 dpi, 600 dots per inch. That tends to be what I do. Any bigger than that, and older pictures don't have that much definition in them. So any more than that, you're going to have much bigger files which don't really reap the benefits. Whereas, as you can see on the screen, our comparison, you can see the first image, that's a much lower DPI, and next to it is a 600 DPI. When we now zoom in, you can definitely see there's an absolute quality difference in there. And this comes back to my main aim, which these videos will show you over the coming sessions, which is that for me, digitizing pictures, it has a number of different aims. Like, it means that if there was only one copy of that before, having them digitized means you can share it with a much larger audience. It means that everyone can have a copy of that picture, everyone in the family. If it's a great-great-great-grandparent, there's only one of them, suddenly all of their hundreds of descendants can have access to an image. That's the first brilliant thing about digitization. It means you can print them. The second thing is, by becoming the new master, you can improve the image. And what you can do is you can make sure that that image is as true to life, and in some case, even more true to life than the original analog picture would have been. When you are scanning in a flatbed image, whether it's colour or whether it's black and white, regardless, scan in colour. Although black and white is black and white, I do feel in the black and white image there is a spectrum of colour within the black and white, and although during the remastering process I would wash the colour out so that it becomes true black and white, when you're scanning you don't want to lose any information. I don't know whether it's just me being pedantic, whether it's a real thing. I've got no evidence to prove it either way, but I just feel that scanning in colour means you get all of the detail in before you then convert it to black and white. But I'll go into that more during the remastering video. One other thing when you're scanning photographs, that is, if there's anything written on the back, do make sure you make a note of it. If there's a date or a name, make sure you note it in the file name. So what I would do, as I've said, is call each scan a name that includes whose it was, where it was it in a box, what was the colour of the box, what was the box called, was it an album, etc. Note those things down. Was it the 1989 Bournemouth album from their holiday? Make a note of that in the file name and then number them from there. At this stage, later on, I'll go into this later on, you will start to label them and sort them and order them later on. At this stage, you're not cataloguing them. At this stage, you're getting all of that material in as quickly as possible so it's on the computer, it's done, and then you can catalogue later. For some people, you might want to catalogue as they go. That works for you, do that. However, I find that slows you down. It means you're less likely to complete the project of scanning things, which is the most important thing, which is getting them in the machine. It slows you down simply because after a while you get bored of having to do that process over and over again. Whereas for me, it's a simple matter of copy and paste Red Album 1, copy and paste Red Album 2, and so on, and going through along there. One more thing to make sure you definitely are on track with things. If you find a duplicate picture, scan it twice. It might be that one of the scans turns out better, it might be one of them was slightly better quality anyway, or it could be that they're actually slightly different takes for the same picture, in which case you want both. Also, do make sure that to avoid scanning something twice, use a bookmark either in the box or in the album to note where you got to last. Try and scan it all at once, but if it is a big album or a big box, put the bookmark in so you know where you've got to. And when you've finished, either make a note that you've done it in a file that's safe, or, as I do, put a sticky note on there with a tick so that you know that that has been done. And if you are borrowing from people, obviously, again, ask their permission to stick things on there. If you're returning things and scanning them in batches, again, say, I'm putting this sticker on, could you leave it on there until the project is over, just so that you know what has and hasn't been scanned, because you don't want to miss out on any of that material. We'll come on to that another time, which is about finding more pictures to scan. But this segment is going through the basics of scanning itself. So, to wrap up the video, using a normal flatbed scanner, try and do multiple pictures at a time, scan in 600 dpi, Have a naming system in place straight away that organises your picture so that you know the provenance of the image and in some cases the inscription that was on the back. Make sure that you clean the scanning glass regularly, if not every time you've scanned, at least every 5 times. Make sure you mark what has and hasn't been scanned. Obviously, if you have any questions, do let me know, and don't forget to subscribe if you would like to find out more about how to take those pictures to the next level. This was about flatbed scanning. I will be producing another video very shortly all about scanning in your slides and your negatives.